everyone. Welcome to VEDO. I am excited today to tell you, a lot about myself. Probably the deepest I have gone. This is going to be my story about why I became a Christian. And I know some of you are probably like, oh, great, that Jesus stuff, boo, where's the next video? Some of you are like, yay, I love Jesus. I've been waiting for her to talk about this. So I hope that the people who are like, yay, are encouraged even more. and I hope that the people who don't want to hear, maybe you're still listening because you like me. Maybe not. I don't know. Hopefully. So anyway, I'll tell you more about why I became a Christian. I grew up in a family with 4 kids, 3 older brothers, and we would go to church. We went to church every week, and I remember, we talked a little bit about church. I mean, I didn't really have any questions, I guess. I wasn't really a big time thinker. Still not. I research a lot of things now, but I don't just spend hours thinking about things. And I guess I didn't as a kid either, but I would just go to church because my parents told me to, and that's what the family did. And so I remember one day, though, specifically we went to church, and I would always ask my dad to stand me up on top of the pew so I could see everybody's faces. I mean, I must have been 4 or something. I don't think I have memory. I didn't think I had memories that early, but I guess I do. So one day I asked him to do that, and he stood me up on top of the pew so I could see everyone's faces, and all of a sudden my face was the same height as theirs. I was looking around, I was so excited, and everybody was just whatever. I mean, they were just staring, not excited at all. And so I thought, that was the first time I even thought, why do we come here if nobody's excited about it? Shouldn't it be exciting? I don't know. I mean, I was just a little bit confused about that. But I mean, I didn't really ask anyone. I just had that thought. And then the first time I heard the term born again was actually my brother dated someone who she had a cross on, and I guess my mom said something like, oh, I like your cross, and she said, are you a Christian? And the girl replied, oh yeah, true Christian, born again. Sorry, it's my email there, born again. And I was like, what's that mean? Aren't we all Christians if we go to church? And so I thought that was a little bit weird. And then I heard more about the born again term when my aunt became a Christian, and everybody knew she was a Christian in the family, and so we were kind of like, what's up with that? And oh, she's born again. She says she's born again. Okay. So I wondered a little bit more about that. Well, this one weekend, she actually came over to our house and started talking about Jesus and God and stuff. And I was probably, I don't know, 6th grade, maybe older, maybe 8th grade. And my brother was with me too, and he was listening. And she basically explained that, yeah, we're all messed up, we're all sinners, we all do things wrong, we don't do all the right things we're supposed to do, and that's sin. And there has to be a penalty for sin because God is just. He's a holy, just God. That means that he can't just overlook bad, overlook our sin. And so the penalty was Jesus. That's why he came. And to me, that just kind of made sense. It just clicked in my head. I was like, oh, that's why Jesus came. Okay. And that's why he died. There had to be a penalty. The penalty was death. And so he died, paid that penalty, so we didn't have to pay that penalty for sin, which is super cool. And then apparently all you have to do is just accept that he made that sacrifice for us, and that he just believe that he is God, and that he paid that penalty for us. And how awesome is that? Just accept him and believe in him. And I didn't. At the time, I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense, but no. And that, believe, of course, that he died for us and then he rose from the dead. Sorry. That's important. And so, but yeah, I didn't really believe it. I just thought, oh, that makes sense. Like, I'm glad I heard this little thing. But it did kind of like burden my soul. Like, I was like, I'm going to have to do that someday. Kind of like when you think about like taxes or something like big you have to do and you're just like, oh, like putting it off, type thing. That's kind of how I felt about it, because I was like, okay, this is for real. This is true. I just don't want to do it right now. And so I went through high school, and I was really into gymnastics. I was just loving it. And I just forgot about the whole God thing for a long time. And then, let's see, my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college were both really, really down times for me. I had some success in gymnastics, but I wasn't as successful as I wanted to be. I just was horrible. I mean, I wasn't horrible, but I was just making bad decisions. I was partying a lot, drinking a lot, and because of those decisions, I just wasn't doing well in the gym, and that was like everything to me was gymnastics, like so important. And so I had a friend a guy friend who was a Christian in high school. He became a Christian in high school, one of those born again people again, and he kept like talking to me. He kept calling me, and he was like cool in high school, and so everybody listened to him and stuff, and so I was like, I should listen to him too. And so he would talk to me, but he was passionate about football, and so I would just complain to him about gymnastics, and then he would just relate to me like he would relate with football. But then he kept driving back to, well, you have nothing to live for. Like, all you're living for is yourself, not anything above that. And so, of course, you're like messing up, because all you're doing is everything for yourself. You have no reason, no passion to live. Like, yourself, that's not good enough, And I was like, huh. And then he's like, oh yeah, by the way, like, you should live for Jesus, because he died for you. I'm like, oh, okay. And so, I mean, I knew all that. I'd heard it before, obviously, but he just kept coming back to that. I'm like, all right, fine. Like, so one day, it was actually in the summer, June 26, 2001. I was in my apartment for that summer, and we were having a conversation over AOL Instant Messenger. That's how old I am. And he was like, well, do you really believe in Jesus? Have you prayed and asked him to, come into your heart and the Holy Spirit live inside you and forgive you of your sin? And I was like, I think I have. But he's like, well, why don't you do it? So pray this prayer. So he like typed out a prayer for me. So I printed out the conversation. This is so old, printing out things. Print out the conversation, and I got down on my knees, and I was like, oh, and he said, make sure you're genuine, make sure you really believe it. And I was like, all right. So I printed out the conversation, got down on my knees, and I was like, well, if I'm going to pray this prayer genuinely, like, from my heart, I'm going to change it up a little bit, because this isn't, I don't understand whatever's going on in this prayer. So this is what I prayed. I said, dear Lord, you've been trying to get my attention for, at least 5 years now, and you win. I will try to live for you, but I'm not going to start reading the Bible, and I'm not going to stop drinking. That's what I said. That was my prayer. Somehow he took that little amount of faith, and he just like changed it, and he changed me. He changed me from within. He gave me a new heart. The Bible talks about a new heart in Ezekiel. And I didn't know it at the time, but yeah, pretty quickly my desires changed. Like I said, wasn't going to stop drinking, but I did. And I said I wasn't going to start reading the Bible, but I did. And it wasn't like, ooh, I have to read the Bible. Ooh, I have to stop drinking. Like, it was like I wanted to do those things. I was really curious about God and about Jesus, and I wanted to read the Bible, and so gradually he changed me, and I didn't, I didn't do those things because I had to, and I didn't even know for sure if I was a born again Christian, but throughout my life, as it has progressed since that moment, I can see that I am a true born again Christian, and that was most likely my time of rebirth, and that he used a very, very small amount of faith to just change me and give me a new life. And so I'm passionate about serving him and loving him, and I thankfully have a wonderful husband who is able to really, really lead me so well, and I'm able to understand the Bible so much better through the Holy Spirit, but also with my husband being able to teach me a lot of things. So that's such a blessing, and I hope that you've enjoyed this, and let me know if you have any questions.